AIBiz Podcast. I'm your host, Sana, and today's conversation, well, listeners, it isn't just about business growth, it is about survival, evolution, and the courage to adapt. Now, in the business circles, we often talk about scaling, selling, and then also we kind of become anxious of, the future of the business, like future proofing, as if they are straightforward just checklists, but in reality they're deeply human journeys, full of uncertainty, resilience, and sometimes letting go of what we have built from the scratch. Listeners, my guest today, Vince Perri, he knows this terrain better than most. From knocking on doors after hurricanes to building multiple seven-figure companies that run without him, Vince has lived the grind, the chaos, and the breakthroughs. And now he's helping other entrepreneurs scale smarter, create freedom, and prepare for exits with confidence. So let's lean into some tough questions out there, like how do you know when it's time to scale or sell? How do you future proof when technology, especially artificial intelligence or AI, is rewriting the rules like every minute, every day? And most importantly, how do we as entrepreneurs balance ambition with sanity in this process? So, Vince, welcome to the show, and yeah, let's get ready to answer some of the tough questions out there.
Thank
Yeah,
you for having me, Sana.
yeah, of course, of course. Okay, let's try to start with trying to understand scaling with AI. Uh, this is something very interesting. I mean, scaling a business, it sounds exciting, but it is also very much overwhelming, Vince. I mean, in your experience, what do you think is the biggest mistake entrepreneurs make when they try to scale too quickly? Especially now we have AI in the picture.
They do everything themselves, and everything is done manually. I think the thought process should always be whenever there's a decision that needs to be made, whenever you have a question that you have to answer, whenever an issue needs to be solved, the first thing that you should ask yourself is how can I automate this and how can I use AI to help me do that? If that's the first place that you go, then you start to sort of think a little bit more outside the box as opposed to you going in and doing everything that needs to be done. Besides making sure that you have good people around you, I tell my I tell my employees that by the end of I mean, if not by the end of this year, at least in 1 year from now, I truly believe that 92% of the work that they do should be handled by AI. And then the other 8%, call it 8 to 10%, should be their personal touch, their creativity, their little touch that they put on it, what it is that they're actually trying to accomplish. But if the mindset is able to change to how can I automate this and how can I use AI to do that, then at least you get the mindset shift and you could start working in the right direction.
Hmm. Now, as you mentioned, there's like 92% job will be done by AI, and the, let's say, 8 to 10% will be done by humans. Now, let's say if a startup or a business, it is transitioning into this mode. I think the biggest kind of challenge is here to communicate and kind of make the employees understand, because once again, and time to time, this point has been kind of discussed everywhere in every podcast out there or discussions out there, that AI is going to take our jobs. How do you think, let's say if the employees or the team members, they are kind of intimidated by this, how this kind of situation can be navigated, especially by the entrepreneur, the business owner who is going to take this decision?
Well, as far as the employee is concerned, they have to get on board and they have to use it. If you're not using AI in my company, you will be replaced by someone who will use it. It's as simple as that, and I've told that to my team. And they just it doesn't matter what you do as long as you're using it, you're actively using it, you're trying to think how can AI answer this problem for me? Now your email should be created by AI. all of your, if you could, your spreadsheets and any kind of, like I said, automations to be done by AI, even as the employee, if you learn how to use it and you're using it in everything that you do, it's only going to make you that much more valuable and that much better at your job. So you're not going to be replaced as long as you get on board and you start using it on a day-to-day basis.
Hmm. That's quite bold. But it's simple and straightforward, Vince. And I think this kind of it's a if I'm being more empathetic, it's kind of a hard reality out there. But yes, it is what it is.
What do you mean it's a hard reality? Why are people, I mean, I understand why people are intimidated by it, but those are also the people that don't really use it. Those are also the people that aren't paying the $20 per month that they pay for Netflix, but they don't pay for ChatGPT. Those are the same people that are intimidated by it because they haven't even tried to open it and use it. I'll give you a perfect example. I was recently talking to my sister.
Okay.
She lives in Canada, and she's a half sister, so she's much older. So she's in her early 60s, okay? And she's out of a job right now, and not because of AI, but she's looking for a job. So before I even asked her for her resume, just so I could take a look at it for her, I asked her, "Are you using ChatGPT? Are you using AI?" And she's like, "No, I'm not." I'm like, "Well, the first thing you need to do is you need to start using it." She's like, "Well, I don't even know what to download." Those are the people that are intimidated by it. Those are the people that are like, "Oh no, my job's going to get taken." So now, this is 2 weeks ago. I reached out to her literally just yesterday and I said, "How's it going?" She's like, "Oh my God, this is like the coolest thing. I get all of these things answered." And I said, "Yes, now keep going." And then I said, change your mindset now, or whenever you have a question, whenever you have an issue, whenever you have a problem, I don't care what it is, if it's regards to your job, your resume, or the medication that you have to take, go to AI, ask it, use it, and just get comfortable with it. Because when you do get that job opportunity, I know for us, it's one of the first things that we ask. I'll tell you one more story is that we just brought on a copywriter. Why would I need a copywriter? I could just use AI. But the first
Okay.
thing I told the copywriter was, I need for you to use AI approximately 90% of your job. She looked at me with these eyes like, what? I said, yeah, because it's only going to make you that much better at the actual copywriting. Now, all you have to do is put your personal touch, put your creativity, put what you were born here on earth as a human being to actually accomplish, which is just be creative and think outside the box as opposed to the normal mundane thing that now we are lucky enough to have something that could do the mundane things and you could actually be more creative. I understand where you're coming from, where people get intimidated. I get it, but I do believe that the majority of those people are the people who are afraid to use it. Of course, you're going to be intimidated. It's like I used to be a tennis coach and I used to train all my athletes. And before they used to go onto the tennis court and play a match, we wanted to make sure, who are you playing? Are they left-handed or are they right-handed? Do they have a good serve? Are they strong on their forehand, strong on their backhand? It's better to know the evil that you're about to go up against than be completely unaware of what's going to happen.
Mm. Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I also believe this that, these tools, time to time we do have tools coming up, which are at our disposal. I think the difference lies in where, you know, it depends on everyone's dexterity in there, like how good you are at leveraging that tool to your best. And it depends on person to person. So yes, I totally agree with your point.
I think maybe the older generation, obviously, but like anything else, I mean, it's been like that for 100 years where technologies are new, they come out, and as you get older, it becomes a little bit more difficult to use it. And I understand the older generation, like my mom's age, she's 70 something years old, and she doesn't know the first thing to do with AI. However, my father-in-law, he's the same age, 73, 74, and uses ChatGPT probably 100 times per day because he likes to play the lottery and he puts all his odds,
Um,
stuff like that on spreadsheets, and he uses AI to help him basically design his Excel spreadsheet and make sure it's all calculating correctly. He uses it every single day and he loves it. So I get it, but you got to use it. If not, you're just going to get left behind, I don't know, watching TV all day.
On Netflix.
or or Netflix. I don't understand. I'm sorry. I get a little excited because I don't understand the people that spend I don't know how much money on a cup of coffee and whatever it is that they buy on Amazon or the prescription subscriptions that they have on Netflix and TV, and they don't. I mean, AI is so cheap. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, of course. Okay.
Sorry. Am I wearing you out a little bit?
No, no, not at all. Not at all. Not at all, Vince. Not at all. I mean, it is kind of, kind of sometimes, weird because um until and unless you're not using the tool, it's kind of, cha- it's weird that you're criticizing it. You have to use it, you have to experience it. Then only I think kind of, I would accept a valid criticism in there, a constructive criticism in there.
Right, right. My sister's the perfect example. 2 weeks later, I followed up with her, and she loves it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay, now moving on, Vince. I think it could be a separate discussion of its own, but yeah, let's talk about, systemizing chaos. Now, especially startups, small medium companies, businesses. Now it's kind of, a chaotic in there. And you talk about turning chaos into systems. S- But, kind of some entrepreneurs that thrive on that chaos. It's like, their fuel. Do you think systemizing kills creativity or does it unlock more freedom?
It unlocks more freedom, which unlocks more creativity. I mean, look at McDonald's as a perfect example. I
Yeah.
mean, they make the hamburger and the cheeseburger the same way every time with the same amount of ketchup, the same amount of mustard, the same amount of the French fries. I think every small, medium, and large almost has the exact same amount of fries in every single one. Now, that's just an extreme example, but Starbucks is the same way. But I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. I mean, we have every quarter we go over all of our SOPs, update them, make sure that they're okay, and it unlocks definitely unlocks creativity because it's just you get things right, so you have more time to think about other things. But what I always tell my team is, when I first implemented a lot of systems and processes, I felt like a lot of people on my team were like, "Oh, why are you trying to replace me?" And it's like, no, it's going to unlock more freedom for you to go on vacation. I don't have vacation. We don't put a limit on vacation. Anytime an employee wants to go on vacation, take the afternoon off, take the week off, what I have this trip with my kid, like whatever it is they want to do, they can take off whenever they want. And they also understand that by having their entire workflow and all the checklists up to date that they could hand it off to the next person and they could be free to not worry about anything while they take that day off. I stress that to them a lot so that it allows them to have more freedom to do whatever they want. And I mean, I don't keep track of hours. I don't do any of that. Like even with my VAs across seas, we don't keep track of hours or anything. It's just basically you have your things that need to get done, and as long as they get done, I don't care if you do them in 1 hour or in 10, as long as it gets done. You can do whatever you want with the rest of that time. And systems and operations and processes and checklists allow you to do that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think that structure, this structure can actually give entrepreneurs their time and this sanity back, to be honest, because if they spend their entire time in just managing that chaos, it doesn't gives much space for new ideas to. So yeah.
I've always said that my best ideas have come on vacation. Because not because it's a great vacation, but because it allows it that's the time when you are not so in your business. And mind you, I have a lot of help and we have a lot of systems and processes. I have plenty of time to be creative, which is I think a big part of the reason of our success. But when I go on vacation and I completely, unlock or I completely check out, that's when all my best ideas come. And I noticed that's a trend with a lot of people is their best ideas, most creativity comes out when they actually have a chance to break out.
Exactly. Morning walks or evening walks, they're walking their pets, um, having just casual conversations, with their friends or maybe like-minded people. Some brilliant ideas have come up. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, now from scaling, now let's come to selling. Now, addressing the sentimental value in there, Vince, it's like your company, you are building it from scratch. It's like your baby. And many founders treat selling their company like failure, when in reality, it can be the ultimate win. How do you help entrepreneurs shift their mindset around exits and selling their company?
I think it's first important for founders to understand that there's not just one kind of exit. There's like 12 different kinds of exits. So you could find a buyer and they could buy 100% of your company, or you could find a buyer and they could just buy 1% of your company, or 25% of your company, or 49%, or they could buy the majority, 51%. And then you could have private equity that comes in that not only takes a portion of the company, but also injects cash flow and then injects actual management and resources into your company to ultimately scale it. So what we call a sale, I also call something that's called, you can get 2 and 3 and 4 bites of the apple. What that means is a private equity firm, for instance, could come in and buy a portion of the company. Then they sell a portion of it 5 years later for more than what they originally got it for. So you get a second bite at the apple. And the whole time, as the owner of the business, you're still on. I mean, that's exactly what Jeff Bezos has done with Amazon. I think he's sold Amazon upwards of like 150 something times. That's insane. I think he only owns of Amazon, I think he only owns, I forgot what it was, but I think it's less than
A
10%.
majority stakeholder. He's not a majority stakeholder.
He's a
Yes.
super minority stakeholder, and that's good. But he started off at 100, and then he just kept selling it to people, and he's had like 150 something bites of the apple, which is insane. And I like how you worded that, because I do believe that when somebody is interested in your company, that's a huge compliment to what you've been able to build. If you're showing interest in outside buyers of your company, that means it's something that people want to buy. And, I always say that a company you can sell, no, what do I say? A great business to own, a great business that sell. Oh my God, I forgot my own saying. A company that you can sell is a great business to own. But that's basically what I mean, is that if it's sellable, that means it's also a good business to own, because either you can stay on or you can give it to somebody that obviously wants that business. They want to own that business. So I think it's a huge compliment. And then also you could sell it to your kids, you can sell it to your employees, you could sell it to your management team. You could do recapitalization where they minority recapitalization, majority recapitalization. There's so many different ways that you can sell your business that it doesn't, everybody always thinks it's like, oh, I'm selling it, that's it, I'm done. No, if you like your job and you have interest, you just negotiate the deal in a way that keeps you doing your job and at least allows you to cash out some money.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's it's not just a transaction, it's like a part of our identity. And I think definitely.
I think the identity part is starting to go away a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I don't, at least here in the US, one thing that we've noticed, we've done a lot of studies, and I'm part of different organizations that have done a lot of these studies. And the baby boom era, so you're talking 65 and older, I think right now, their mindset is more, their company is their identity. The Gen X generation, which is basically up to 60 years old, they're sort of ready to retire now, and they're a little bit the same way. But the millennials, which is about 35 to 45, I believe it is, they have no problem. They get bored. I'm a millennial, and I have a startup now, and
Mhm.
we just get bored, and we're okay with selling it and starting something new or starting a new partnership. And I think the next generation, which I forgot what that generation is called, Gen Z, Gen Z, right? Gen Z's even probably even worse in regards to, yeah. I actually had a Gen Z on my podcast. It's on my show just yesterday, and they literally launched their company with the goal of selling it within 5 years. So I think the mindset is changing a little bit, where we are actually now finally treating our business as the investment that it is. It's up to 80% of our net worth. And you want to make sure that you're scaling that and ultimately continue to invest in yourself so that you could ultimately have that exit. But I do think that the mindset is changing as the generations fall off into more of this is an investment. If an offer comes around, I'm okay with exiting and starting something else.
Exactly. I mean, 5 years. I mean, we 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 have come from discussions where people would test startups and their longevity. Okay, if your first 5 years are good enough, then you are going to survive. Now we are talking about selling within 5 years. And so, I mean, that's a pivotal. That's a huge shift in there.
Softwares and SaaS and stuff like that. Because what happens is a lot of these businesses aren't sold to individuals. You get rolled up. It's called a roll up, and you get rolled up by someone else in your industry. And that's called a strategic acquisition by another company because they either want your market share, they want your list of clients, or you provide a service that is actually a benefit to the service that they provide. So it's not exactly direct competition. It's a particular service that they could use. Like Facebook does it all the time. When somebody comes out with something really new and cool, they just acquire that company so that they don't have to pay for it, like as a service. So that's strategic acquisition that happens a lot.
Yeah, we have, such a great example in Disney. I mean, talk about Pixel and
Star Wars.
Disney. I'm talking about
Right,
Disney.
right, but Disney bought Star Wars.
Exactly. Yeah.
That was huge. That was huge.
Okay, I'm not going to go there because I have a lot of okay sentiments in there. Anyway, okay, and Vince, once again, circling back to the previous part of our conversation. Oh, okay. Now, some would say AI is making entrepreneurs lazy, outsourcing critical thinking to algorithms. What would you have to say on this?
You already know what I'm gonna say about this.
That's it. But I just wanted to bring it back.
I was listening to I was listening the other day to the CEO podcast. Remember what's his name? The English guy? The CEO, what's it called? The mindset of a CEO, something like that. Yes.
CEO's diary or something. The
Yeah,
diary.
the Diary of a CEO, yeah. And he had these two psychologists on, and I was getting so frustrated because they were making all these predictions that AI is hurting our brains because we're not using certain parts of our brains and this and that. My thoughts on this is it depends on how you use it. I think if you use it in a way that could actually benefit your creativity, so you just use it sort of as an assistant to help you with some things. But either way, whatever it is, at least now, I don't know God knows what AI is going to look like in 5 years and what it can do for us. But at least now, if you create a document and you use AI, you still have to fact check it and you still have to put your creativity behind it to make sure that it's done correctly. Now, if you're one of those people that just literally take it, copy paste it, and then go ahead and send it, then yeah, then you're not using parts of your brain. You got to actually be creative about it. But I don't think it's hurting critical thinking. I just think it depends on how you use it and how dependent you are on it. And then if you're not using your creativity to actually expand it and make it better, then sure, maybe it can be. But yeah, no, I don't totally believe that.
Mhm.
I don't know if that made sense, but one thing that I will say, I was talking to a buddy of mine just yesterday, and he was talking about how all the kids he's got a son who's in high school, and all the kids in high school that the teachers are really worried because they're using AI for their reports and they can't tell and they don't want them to be cheating and this and that. And I flipped it on him. I said, well, if the teachers were smart, every assignment that they would give out and every homework assignment, every test, and you would have to use AI in order for you to actually complete that homework assignment. Like teachers need to get a little bit more creative on making their students actually use AI to assist them with their homework. I don't know. I'm not a teacher in high school, so I don't know how they can do that. But another friend of mine who is now getting his business degree in he's older, but he's getting a graduate business degree, and his instructors force them to use AI on every single assignment. I have my 3-year-old talking to ChatGPT at least once a day.
Oh, wow.
You
Okay.
have to just use it. If not, you're gonna lose it.
And that's a good one-liner in there, Vince.
Yeah.
Super. And yeah, of course, if listeners they would like to connect with you, what's the easiest way, Vince?
Vince Perri official on Instagram and on YouTube. We have 3 shows a week on YouTube. I have my guest show on Mondays, my solo show on Wednesdays, and I go live on Fridays on YouTube every single week. And then Instagram, I mean, I post probably 2 to 3 times a day. So there's a lot of content going on in regards to AI, entrepreneurship, and exit strategy.
Super, superb. I'll make sure for our listeners all the details are in there. And Vince, thank you. Thank you for this unapologetic and very, very bold take on AI and entrepreneurship. I think scaling isn't always about endless hustle. Selling is not always about defeat. And of course, future proofing, it isn't about building something indestructible. It's definitely about being agile, intentional, and open to evolution. So thank you so much for shedding light on this very bold
Thank you
take.
so much for having me. That was fun.
Yeah, that was really fun. Great. So to all my listeners, okay, let's leave the conversation with this big real question. How big can I grow this business? But not this one, but how can I design it to serve my life, not consume it? Think about it, and also keep listening to all the exciting episodes and conversations on AI Biz. Until next time, keep building smart, stay adaptable, and remember, the future doesn't belong to the biggest, but to the most resilient. Thank you.